it is our responsibility to protect the vulnerable members of society, our children. We protect our children from dangerous people and dangerous places. We also try to protect our children's health. The last thing we want for our children is for them to catch a disease like measles, mumps, whooping cough, chickenpox, or polio. Scientists have created vaccines that have been proven to prevent these diseases. For example, the measles vaccine has decreased childhood deaths from measles by 74%. In the 20th century, there were over 29,000 deaths from smallpox yearly in the United States. After the vaccine for smallpox was developed in the 60s, by 2012 there was no reported cases of smallpox. Even though there is now access to vaccinations and science has proven their safety and effectiveness, there are still outbreaks all over the country.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the nation is facing its largest measles outbreak in 5 years. On Tuesday, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio declared a public health emergency
where measles,
once declared eradicated in the United States.
Well, the measles
outbreaking at near record levels.
Measles outbreaks are rattling regions of the country again this year.
To prevent these outbreaks, state governments should eliminate personal and religious exemptions for vaccinations to maintain community immunity. Those that do not comply would be required to attend vaccine education sessions at their own cost, and their unvaccinated children would be barred from attending school.
It all goes back to protecting the entire community. I think back to about 4 or 5 years ago, we had a student with leukemia, and obviously on very heavy medications, at huge risk for any kind of virus that he could have caught. So the idea that it would be unethical for the public school to protect that student, it just doesn't make sense to me. That's our job, is to protect all students. So when it has to do with protecting someone's health, that's just the only ethical decision to me.
I think that the government should definitely make vaccines mandatory, because in order for a community to have herd immunity or community immunity, we have to have 80 to 90% of the children vaccinated. The little percent that's left could be for kids who have possible allergies.
Misinformation has fueled the opinions of parents that choose not to vaccinate their children. A common misconception is that vaccines cause some children to develop autism.
It absolutely does not cause autism, and that's been proven scientifically.
This myth stems from a study published in 1998 by Andrew Wakefield. This study was soon proven to be highly inaccurate, and since has been completely discredited due to an incredible amount of procedural errors, undisclosed financial conflicts of interest, and ethical violations. Andrew Wakefield lost his medical license.
So no study has ever shown that vaccines cause autism, period.
Religious beliefs is another factor for some anti-vaxxers. The Constitution of the United States of America states the right to religious freedom, but as the New York Times states it, infecting people isn't a religious right. Although personal medical choices are valued amongst many parents, reaching the threshold for herd immunity is more important.
There are still 47 states that allow non-medical exemptions from vaccines. All of these states tend to have a higher percentage of outbreaks. We cannot keep letting these outbreaks happen.
Just like buckling up your child, vaccinations will protect them from the worst case scenario, even though it isn't bound to happen.
I believe it's a obligation for our community that everyone needs to be vaccinated in order to protect the weaker people in our community. If someone is immune compromised and can't be vaccinated, that makes perfect sense. If there's a health issue that the vaccinations are going to risk their life or their health, that makes perfect sense to me. But everyone needs to be vaccinated in order to protect the whole community.